Welcome to the Green Nurse Podcast, where we bring hope and inspiration for growth and healing. We're here to change the dialogue and stigma around what it means to feel good and be high, hence the H for hope, I for inspiration, G for growth, and H for healing. It's okay to feel good. Everyone deserves to feel good. This is the Green Nurse Podcast Clinical Conversations webcast. And this came about when Nurse Elizabeth and I merged our companies, Holistic Caring and the Green Nurse, alongside Bloom Hemp, creating Holistic Caring Network. Clinical Conversations explores all aspects of how to optimize cannabis as medicine. People are making great medicines. People are selling these amazing plant formulations, yet no one is truly interpreting how to use cannabis as medicine. And that is what we do. And here's a little video about what we do in the cannabis space before we get started on today's clinical conversation. And then we'll get going. Partners in Health. Got my partner.
Change the paradigm of healthcare.
The Green Nurse is a holistic cannabis nurse that teaches on the endocannabinoid system and the safe utilization of cannabis and other progressive tools to help people reach a better quality of life.
I'm the founder of Holistic Caring. We're based here in California, and we do educational programs and case management for patients on how to use cannabis therapeutically as a medicine.
We're also here to decrease stigma around what it means to feel good and be high, hence the H for hope, I for inspiration, G for growth, and H for healing.
As the founder of Holistic Caring, I basically oversee the whole ship. And what we're doing is progressive education.
Cannabis actually supports all 11 organ systems, our immune system, and all the neurotransmitter signaling systems that give messages to tell our body to either do something or not do something. Because the plant was prohibited, it prevented health professionals, doctors and nurses from learning about cannabis as medicine.
I want to change the paradigm of healthcare and us paving the way into a new vanguard of medicine.
It's about education, it's about empowerment, it's about teaching people how to feel good, bridging the gap from what they're not getting from traditional medicine, utilizing different plant medicines, adaptogens, tips, tricks, hugs, and nugs of information to support and nourish the most important system in our body.
It's a lot of soul work, a lot of love, a lot of discipline, and meditation. I'm using my life work as a testimony to others to learn how they can be their own hero and then go help heal the world.
And we are, as nurses, the game changers. Yay, yay, yay. We are the nurses as game changers.
We are the game changers.
We are. And today we're going to delve into the topic of CBD and its transformative impact when combined with lifestyle coaching, empowering us to achieve optimal health, holistic, and well-being. CBD plus minor cannabinoids offer a very wide range of benefits, including antioxidant and preventative properties, aiding in recovery, reducing stress, promoting better sleep, and supporting metabolic and cardiovascular health. But before we get started on our presentation, we have a special message from our sponsor. And Elizabeth, I'm just going to pull up a little graphic and have you plug away.
Okay. Well, our sponsor today is Bloom Hemp. So Bloom Hemp CBD is a woman and nurse-owned national hemp CBD supplier, leading with quality, value, safety, and patient-centered care. Bloom Hemp is headquartered in the mountains of Colorado, and it's beautiful there. But they have USDA organic hemp CBD that is tested for potency and purity, cannabinoid profiles, terpenes, and all of the contaminants, so that we make sure that it's potent and pure. Bloom Hemp is proud to offer a free nurse line, one of the only CBD suppliers. So call 970-404-HOPE. 4673 and ask your questions about how CBD works in the body and how you might get started on a plan for you. So you can also use the coupon Green Nurse for 10% off your order at Bloom Hemp and get free shipping. So call today and get connected with Bloom.
All right. So there we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So pretty much basically, over the past, November's newsletter, we were talking
Mhm.
about healthy aging,
Yeah.
and we put in the comments below the link to our blog, so you can read the November blog, really about healthy aging, how you can combine cannabinoids with lifestyle as medicine, what's important as we age. But before we get started in that presentation, we do want to bring up a very important announcement that we want to read off.
Mhm.
I've been taking care of a patient and her daughter. And basically, the patient is in hospice, the daughter is a care manager. And what we're trying to do is help to implement Ryan's Law and help to get cannabis and CBD into facilities to help these patients bridge the gap from what they're not getting from conventional pharmaceuticals. So I'm just going to put up a little letter that we wrote to assisted living senior facilities. And I'm going to have Elizabeth read it.
Yeah. Attention, assisted living and senior care living facility environments. And just for background, Ryan's Law is implemented here in California, SB 302, which means that anybody that is in hospice or palliative care can use cannabinoid medicines in a healthcare setting that are non-smokable. So they can bring in their own tinctures, topicals, gummies, etc. So we wrote a letter to address the facilities. And so this letter is to address the issue of resident or family caregiver desire to utilize natural health options for medication use. There is a growing concern with polypharmacy issues in the elderly, and CBD supplements often work to ameliorate many symptoms that the other pharmaceuticals do not. Because CBD has been legalized in all 50 states with the 2018 US Farm Bill, access for residents who may benefit over more harmful pharmaceuticals should be granted. The FDA seeks to regulate CBD, but for now has issued guidelines of safety for good manufacturing processes and to seek USDA organic CBD certificate of analysis and transparent business practices in labeling, especially, and then in marketing and fair business practice. As part of our services to clients, we recommend CBD brands that exceed these criteria. This is botanical medicine, and it must be tested, safe, and pure. CBD and cannabinoids have safe and effective inpatient care for symptom management for anxiety, depression, pain, sleep disturbance, appetite, and general mood enhancement with less fear and agitation. Targeted formulas can address specific imbalances, and cumulative dosing reduces the need for other pharmaceuticals for behavioral issues. Over 59 studies for dementia alone prove the efficacy and safety for various cannabinoids, terpenes, and lifestyle changes. We invite you to participate in our CBD project, whereas your nursing staff, medical director, staff, and families can learn from our education and participate in support groups. We offer one-to-one coaching and can train your nurses to understand and apply cannabinoids in holistic practice. In fact, the American Nurses Association has just designated cannabis nursing as a specialty. Other facilities are offering a CBD project with in-house nurses working in partnership with Holistic Caring Nursing to address CBD needs and the care of the residents. Hebrew Home in the Bronx was among the first to help residents access THC and has been successful in demonstrating safe, effective use of non-smokable THC like tinctures and topicals. It's a brave new world, but we've been registered nurses for 37 years each and working to support cannabis therapeutics for patients across America the past 9 years. We're helping this resident who gave you the letter with a much needed option. We would love to partner with you to bring this to your facility and to have an open dialogue about CBD dosing, interactions, timing with activities of daily living and other pharmaceuticals, and what medications to look to wean in time when we establish CBD efficacy. So, and then sincerely signed from the two of us.
Yep. And we're going to actually have this letter in the network.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are not in the network, we want you to join our free Holistic Caring Network. If you go to holisticcaring.com and you go to our page, you're going to see join the network and it's free. So go in the network. You can go into clinical conversations. We post the video there as well. This is also on live on Facebook and on social media, but we also take the video and we put it in a library, and we're going to actually put this document in there for anyone that is interested. and utilizing our services for us to help you to get your loved ones feeling comfortable, right?
And this is only the beginning. Every facility in America that is caring for our elderly need to have this letter on file and learn how to work with cannabis nurses now that we are a specialty, and to really incorporate CBD into traditional care, because it can make a big difference. And we're about to go into the slides and go through healthy aging with CBD
This is it, right?
and what that looks like.
Cannabis and CBD for health and aging, using CBD and cannabinoids to supplement conventional care. Get into the Thrive Zone at any age and live your best life. So this is a spin-off on a couple of other presentations that Elizabeth and I have done. We did a presentation at the Aging Life Care. We did a presentation for senior care managers. And, really, what is important when people get older, right? In their golden years, what is important to our seniors? Cognition, movement, independence, quality of life. And what challenges do they have? Pain that begins to limit their movement, poor health literacy. So they're seeing all of these commercials and they're making uninformed choices. They're watching television and they're literally using,
or just believing the last doctor,
or believing the last doctor
that wasn't integrated with a full team.
Yep. So as people get older, they have slower metabolism and they have a different way of clearing out pharmaceuticals. Polypharmacy, 5 or more pharmaceuticals, there's a 50% chance that they're interacting, and people are being admitted to hospitals for adverse drug events and falls. Chronic inflammation due to lifestyle challenges. Older folks are dealing with neuroinflammation, depression, fatigue, metabolic syndrome, diabetes, and cardiac issues. Can cannabis help? Conventional versus holistic.
Yeah. So normally when we think of conventional care, that's your doctors and your hospital systems, and that's pills and procedures for the most part. That's the current standard of care. And polypharmacy, as Sherry alluded to, is what happens when you're taking multiple pharmaceuticals, at least 5. But there are side effects, adverse effects, allergies, and then in many of these drugs, black box warnings. There's even a black box warning on Motrin for sudden death, as well as a lot of the pharmaceuticals that our elderly are taking to control behavior. And what's missing? The whole person care. In the holistic care side of things, we can focus on the endocannabinoid system care. So we're supplementing and nourishing this system with cannabinoids, supplements, and botanicals, along with lifestyle management. What are the functional things we need to do to make adaptations to live better and cleaner? And it includes the conventional care. We have to have both sides of the treatment plan that we're working with, but we focus more on supporting the endocannabinoid system and the endocannabinoid dome so that the rest of the things start to balance out. And then we can wean some of the conventional care. And then both, which is what we practice, combined care, right? So personalized care, empowering the patients, fostering the biopsychosocial spiritual healing, and maximizing the benefits and minimizing the harms associated with any one of these treatment plans.
Yep. Cannabis and healthy aging. Can cannabis help? Absolutely. It can totally bridge the gap from what pharmaceuticals don't provide. Pharmaceuticals actually work better at lower doses. We've seen this over and over again. We've seen decreased side effects due to lower doses. And we're going to talk about the pleiotropic nature of cannabinoids and how it works on multiple systems all at the same time. We see decreased symptoms and improved quality of life. Cannabinoids can slow down neurodegeneration, acts as a neuroprotectant to protect brain cells, as an antioxidant protecting from oxidative stress. They want you to think of cells rusting, right? So cannabinoids can protect your cells from rusting. Anti-inflammatory, decreasing systemic inflammation throughout the entire body. Promoting neurogenesis, which is making new neurons in the brain in particular. How interesting is that? And preclinical research at the Salk Institute shows that THC may erode amyloid plaques, slowing progression of Alzheimer's dementia. And clinically, as nurses, that's what we're seeing. We're seeing that. Right. And so I love this Elizabeth is my little researcher.
Yeah, I love to talk about this.
Does.
So let's go through, the benefits of CBD. So this is the evidence of the pleiotropic nature of cannabinoids and how it's not just targeting one or two different things, but the whole gamut of conditions that conventional medicine is treating. Right. And if you look at this, I got my glasses on, but it's still low.
It's a little,
but when you want to speak to
when people say that there isn't any research, I say, I'm sorry, but there is clinical evidence using CBD for these conditions. I pull up this slide, and this slide here, I'm not going to click it. They're all live links. So each of these links opens up to research to be able to substantiate, cannabis for a canker sore, or cannabis for chronic kidney disease, or cannabis for Crohn's disease, in particular, this cannabinoid CBD. So CBD is a multi-target molecule that binds with numerous cell receptors throughout the body. It works on over 70 targets in the body, thus, directly and indirectly initiating these complex biological changes in the body and emotions. And what's important about CBD is that in 2018, right, the FDA approved CBD in the form of Epidiolex, which is a pharmaceutical version of CBD for the treatment of rare pediatric seizures.
And I keep waiting for folks the neurology to be using this for more conditions, but it's very expensive. It's very expensive. Epidiolex is over $3,000 a month. So and THC is the next slide.
Is the next one.
And THC is also a multi-target molecule that actually binds with numerous cell receptors, CB1 and CB2 directly, which we're going to get into in a moment. That it basically helps initiate complex biological changes in the body, mind, and the emotions. And when we think of THC, we think of something to help us with pain directly, spasms. In fact, Marinol was created for chemotherapy-induced nausea and vomiting, to reduce nausea from chemotherapy, and it's approved for that. Dronabinol came on the market in 1985 as synthetic THC. So just like we have Epidiolex for CBD, we have THC as well. But really, when we're thinking about spasms, pain, appetite, nausea, and then so many other things, when we talk about cancer and the preclinical evidence that we're seeing on how THC can kill cancer cells. But we know it also works for palliation of that, right? Helping somebody eat, sleep, and
relax, forget, and protect.
Relax, forget, protect, which we're going to see on the next slides as well.
Yeah. So for older folks.
Yeah, I want to talk about this one because I love Stacy Gruber. She's working at the McLean Hospital outside Harvard and working with older adults that are going through the Mind Institute. So marijuana investigations for neuroscientific discovery. And what she's doing with her team is mapping out brain changes for these older adults that are using cannabis. And so after 3 months of medical marijuana use, leading to activation in the cingulate cortex, an area in the brain involved with pain, attention, distractions, and problem solving, was sharpened, right? And then the neuroimaging are also revealing changes in the brain as the cognitive skills improve. So they're gauging interactions with these patients on the subjective level. What are we seeing in functional change? And then objectively with the brain. They're seeing things crisp up and look more healthy. And so one of the things that she said is it because people feel less pain, sleep better, or use fewer medications like opiates and benzodiazepines that are affecting their thinking and memory? Or is it a direct effect from the cannabis? We don't know yet. And so we're waiting for her to continuously publish more studies out of this. But it is the objective, subjective. How is this working in improvements to the seniors as well as imaging to the brain?
And when we start to discuss more about the pleiotropic nature of cannabinoids, I bet your hypothesis will be the same as yours, that the cannabis did make a significant difference.
Yes.
Right. And this is important too. So think about all of these old folks. Many seniors are taking antidepressants, Celexa, Prozac, Paxil, Zoloft, Effexor, Wellbutrin, and then think of the antipsychotics that they're putting them on, the side effects, the adverse effects, drug nutrient depletion. What's really important about a lot of these pharmaceuticals is, diet. As people get older, your caloric requirements decrease, but your nutritional requirements remain the same. And so all of these older folks, if you're feeding them pharmaceuticals that are depleting their body of vitamins, particularly B vitamins, I can see why we're having an issue with their behavior, because B vitamins bathe the central nervous system. Very, very important. So CBD has a very positive effect on depression. When ingested, the CBD compound directly interacts with serotonin and dopamine receptors, influencing brain activity and the release of serotonin and dopamine throughout the body. And CBD can protect the brain in multiple different ways by decreasing inflammation. Inflammation is necessary for survival. However, too much inflammation can cause damage. So CBD can regulate the number of immune cells sent out to attack pathogens. So it can modulate the inflammatory response. CBD acts as an antioxidant to prevent and handle toxicity in the brain, allowing for less overstimulation and more functional communication. So just imagine antioxidant. You peel 2 apples. One apple you leave open to air, the other one you cover with lemon juice. Lemon juice is an antioxidant. You come back in an hour, the one that has been open to air will be brown. The one that is been covered with the lemon juice will be protected and pristine. That is the antioxidant effect. So just imagine that's what's happening in the brain. We're protecting our brain cells. And then cell growth. CBD has been shown to promote hippocampus neurogenesis, so actually producing new brain cells, which means it helps the cells in the hippocampus grow. And this can also contribute to the antidepressant effect of CBD. Very, very powerful.
And memory improvements.
Memory improvements, exactly. So we decrease inflammation, we protect the cells, we improve cell growth, and then you're going to see better outcomes for patients.
So Dale Bredesen is one of the most famous physicians in America working with Alzheimer's patients. And what he has found is that the Bredesen protocol that he implemented with patients on a functional basis, multifaceted, holistic, and functional, can enhance cognition and reverse cognitive decline. So the protocol emphasizes nutrition, and treating metabolic syndrome, which we know is causative of dementia. So what do we want to emphasize in the diet? Whole foods, mostly plant-based, a mildly ketogenic diet, so less carbs, more protein and vegetables, and then a 3-hour fast before bed. So don't be eating right before you go to bed, and then have a 12-hour fasting window. And this is really important. Some people do 12 hours, some people do 14, but from the time you eat dinner at say 6 p.m., all the way until 6 a.m. or 8 a.m. if you can stay in a fasted state. Maybe it's 8 p.m. to 10 a.m., whatever your hours are, which is kind of what I do. That's how you want to do this, because it helps your body to have some of that autophagy, which happens when you're hungry. When we're eating all the time, our body is it's good. It doesn't need to do anything to clean itself. When we fast, it works. And this is really key for keeping the brain going. And then hemp oils and phytonutrients. And then, of course, we want to avoid gluten, milk, fast food, meat, animal products, sugars, and artificial sweeteners. And you don't avoid all meat, but you limit it. And you want lean protein, like, maybe some lamb and then fish, which is one of my favorites. And then just continuing on this, what they're doing is the same thing as Stacy Gruber is, in managing a functional as well as an objective imaging approach, and what is happening with brain changes. So cognitive scores are going up, brain changes are improving in a favorable way. So I imagine if we add cannabis and CBD to this, then we're going to enhance this window of efficacy even further.
And we have some case studies at the end.
Yeah.
So hang with us. So treat the pain, right? Research, treat the pain, help prevent Alzheimer's disease, right? So there has been research that has shown that there is an overlap between chronic pain and the greater dementia risk. So the more pain sites that a patient has in their body, the more risk they're at risk for Alzheimer's disease. So there's an overlap between chronic pain and neuroinflammation. It speeds cognitive decline, causes memory loss, greater hippocampal shrinkage. Chronic pain can worsen cognitive, functional, and emotional behaviors. You think about when someone is in chronic pain, they just are shutting down. They don't want to engage in the world. So cannabinoids might treat pain, inflammation, decreasing the neuroinflammation, decreasing the risk for Alzheimer's disease, and increasing mobility. This is probably one of my favorite slides that I've been utilizing a lot when I've been teaching, specifically as we're educating even more people in the space of using cannabis as medicine. And what is a good place to start for chronic pain when you have an old person? You are not going to start with a 10 milligram THC edible. No, absolutely not. So there is research to substantiate starting type with CBD predominantly. And so we've used a lot of CBD with our old folks that we start with, and we're titrating up. They're being very conservative here. We found that we start a little bit higher up on the dosing scale, but we don't introduce high dose THC to the senior population at all. We just slowly drip it in, right? You're dripping it in because we want to mimic endocannabinoid system signaling. So basically it says the starting cannabinoid is CBD. Starting CBD dose is 5 milligrams twice a day, and then you can titrate. And then you don't add in the THC until you've been up to about 40 milligrams of CBD a day. And so, and they're looking at this protocol here is just CBD. And so if you're using a whole plant extracts, full spectrum CBD with some other minor cannabinoids enhanced, you might be able to reach results a lot quicker.
Yeah. Yeah,
Do you have anything to add to this?
Well, it's just a progressive nature, and this is really taken from the British prescriber model of what they're teaching physicians to do in the cannabis arena over there. Everything is controlled with prescribing and pharmaceutically graded botanicals in the oils. So somebody would get a bottle of CBD, they be on that the first month, titrating up very slowly, marking down how they're doing, go back to the doctor, and then slowly phasing in THC at like 2.5 milligrams.
It's right there.
Yeah, once a week, and then increasing that every week. So it could be a couple of month protocol to get up to where, 40 to 50 milligrams of CBD and 10, 20, 30 milligrams of THC used together. We want to always administer them together. And we'll go into this as we keep going here. So I'll just keep going. Cannabis is harm reduction, right? So, when we think about especially pain, we've just been talking about pain. Think about the NSAIDs. They're damaging the heart, the kidneys, the GI bleeding. I've seen personally patients come into the hospital and have a GI bleed from taking too many Motrins. The hypnotics and benzodiazepines they're taking for sleep, they're in too much pain to sleep, and now that they have memory issues, sedation, and potential for falls. And then opiates, we know, constipation, brain fog, they're addictive, and they affect brain chemistry, but they also affect brain changes. There are long-term use of opiates causing changes to the prefrontal cortex and the medial temporal lobes. So brain changes that are affecting thinking, executive planning, organization, how you show up in the world, and if you think, Peter Greenspoon, who's one of the famous cannabis physicians in Harvard and Boston area, it makes sense to try cannabis when you consider the track record of other medications older adults take, especially for pain, sleep, and anxiety, which is what we're talking about here. Because the pharmaceuticals, and these add up. Think about the patients right now that are on NSAIDs, hypnotics, benzodiazepines, opioids, and then all the cardiac stuff, and the Coumadin, and the clot preventions, et cetera, and the statins, and then the antidepressants. The list goes on. And so you see why we're so passionate about this, because this is doing harm to our seniors, and we love our elders.
Yeah, and at the end of life, it should be your golden years, really. It shouldn't be your putting out fire years.
Right.
So healthy lungs, don't smoke cigarettes. What about inhaling cannabinoids? So this was part of our newsletter.
Mm-hmm.
What is generally known is that frequent smoking of marijuana is associated with chronic bronchitis, throat, and bronchial inflammation. While cannabis smoke contains carcinogens, it does not appear that smoking cannabis causes lung cancer. And this is from Carol Boyd, MD, director of the Center for Study of Drugs, Alcohol, Smoking Health at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. So cannabis.
4 points.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the big 4 points of this is cannabis has anti-cancer properties, and you don't have to inhale cannabis to use cannabinoids to get the health benefits. So the safe way to inhale, if people want to inhale, is to use a dry herb vaporizer. So buying a dry herb vaporizer that has a specific temperature setting, and you buy the flower, you ground it up, and you put it in the dry herb vaporizer, you set the setting, and you take your inhalation. That is the safest way to do it. The second safest way to do it is with a water bong, I would say. The two safest ways. But CBD and THC formulations are dosed in tinctures, capsules, gummies, topicals, and they don't impact lung health at all. I'm not anti-inhalation. However, there are other ways that you can utilize cannabinoids to get the medicine in. There are some older folks that have difficulty eating. And so sometimes what we do is we teach them how to inhale 1 or 2 puffs to decrease the nausea so they can actually get in the capsules and the tinctures.
Yeah. So these are health tips for November. So we're talking about smoking and lung health, because 400,000 or more patients are dying every year from lung cancer. It really is from smoking is 400,000 plus, and then 143,000. A lot of people that die of lung cancer didn't smoke. But my father did, which is why I'm always passionate. I lost my father when I was only 24 to smoking. So if you smoke, don't smoke. Go to the smokeout, smokefree.gov, and quit.
Yes. And if you need help quitting, we can help you quit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different ways that we can help people.
Yeah, CBD can actually help with that.
Absolutely.
And then the other part of health tips for seniors in November really focuses on diabetes. Diabetes is the other leading cause of death and disability, with a new diagnosis every 23 seconds, if you can believe that. 30 million children, 84 million adults are diabetic or at risk. And when not controlled, diabetes can lead to heart disease, kidney disease, vision loss, neuropathy, and amputation. And so, according to the American Diabetes Association, a lot of these symptoms are silent, but urinating often, feeling hungry even though you're eating, having extreme fatigue, blurry vision, cuts and bruises that are slow to heal, weight loss, even though you're eating just fine. That is type 1 diabetes and can be diagnosed earlier. And then tingling, pain, or numbness in the hands or feet. Type 2, sometimes that'll be your first sign. I'm having neuropathy because you didn't realize you've been having diabetes for a long time. So basically, we want to use cannabinoids in conjunction with lifestyle medicine, because this diabetes and metabolic syndrome, cardiovascular issues, we need to get people moving, getting them feeling good, getting them less stressed, getting them eating plant-based diets and less carbs, sugar, fats, and starch. So pulling in cannabinoids, CBD, THCV, is a sort of anti-diabetic cannabinoid that is improving insulin sensitivity and lowering blood glucose levels more directly over time. And then CBD and THC plus terpenes can get you moving again by lowering pain. And then same thing, can improve the taste of the vegetables and fruits, enhancing the palate, enhancing the flavors. So have a couple of milligrams of THC and then eat a really wonderful salad constructed with beautiful fresh greens, red peppers, lentils, beets, etc. That's how I retrained my brain. And all of a sudden, that's what I was craving. And the weight fell off. I lost 20 pounds, felt better, and didn't have any more problems. So we teach people how to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the benefits of cannabinoids: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, pleiotropic. It balances the nervous system, the immune function, and stress hormones. It improves metabolic function. It decreases neuropathy, decreases pain and muscle tension, increases mobility and energy. Mentally, it improves the quality of sleep, promotes the relaxation response and calmness, improves feeling of well-being, decreases fatigue, anxiety, and feelings of isolation, and builds resilience for empowerment. So cultivating our body's ability to rest, repair, resilience, movement, right? We're offering our body an opportunity to truly heal.
Mm-hmm.
And so the endocannabinoid system, this is probably, these are my favorite
slides.
slides. Why this all works, right? So the endocannabinoid system is the system that makes it all happen. And it is the most important system in the body that they're not teaching, that should be taught in school. And nursing is moving forward, cannabis nursing in particular. So the endocannabinoid system, I have an umbrella drawn up just to show the interconnectedness of all of our different systems. So just imagine you're an umbrella. All of the spokes of the umbrella are your different organ systems. The fabric color pieces that attach to the spokes of the umbrella are the different neurotransmitter signaling systems. So the endocannabinoid system blankets on top of the entire umbrella, because we have cannabinoid receptors on all of the cell surfaces of all of our organ systems. And we promote and we produce internal endogenous cannabinoids upon demand. So the endocannabinoid system acts like a switchboard, a feedback loop, correcting cell signaling to restore balance. The endocannabinoid system reacts to stress or changes throughout the body, all at the exact same time, triggering a release of endocannabinoids that we make, the anandamide and the 2-AG, to turn up or turn down cell signaling, correcting messaging between cells and all systems. So the goal is homeostasis amongst all body systems. So the endocannabinoid system is a conductor regulating both the fight or flight response and the relaxation response. Guess where we function optimally? The relaxation response. And then we talk a little bit more about the endocannabinoid dome. And the endocannabinoid dome is the larger environment that interacts with the endocannabinoid system. It compromises the lipidome, the microbiome, and we can mediate this multiple different ways. So, and we're going to talk about this in the next couple of slides. How and why cannabis works.
So cannabis works because there are cannabinoids. So what is a cannabinoid? It's a molecule that interacts with the endocannabinoid system, right? So we can make them endogenously, our endocannabinoids, that's the anandamide and 2-AG. The phytocannabinoids are all of the cannabinoids the plant cannabis makes. And then synthetic cannabinoids that pharmaceutical companies make, like Marinol and Dronabinol. and Sesamet and Nabalone. So in 1964, we discovered THC. Raphael Mechoulam, working in Israel, together with Lumiere Hannes, who is pictured here, they discovered the endocannabinoid system in 1988 because they found the receptors. They put radioactive imaging, tied into THC, put it into the body. We light up like a Christmas tree. Wow, what is this? How does it work? And surely we can't just be hardwired for this plant. What do we make endogenously that activates all of these receptors in our entire body? And that's 4 years later, they discovered the internal cannabinoids, anandamide and 2-AG, and put it all together and said, that's the endocannabinoid system. And there are more receptors in our body for these cannabinoid targets, CB1 and CB2, than any other receptor system in the body. And then you can see that THC and anandamide fit right into that same nerve cell receptor. A receptor is like a little lock, and the cannabinoids are a key that then turn the key and change the physiological functions inside that cell.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, and yeah, I'll continue. And this is a busy slide. We don't need to go through the whole thing, but think about your central channel. The CB1 receptors are most prevalent in the brain, the spinal cord, the dorsal ganglia, basically helping us with our mind, our memory, our motor functions, our appetite, temperature, sensations, as well as all of our thinking, etc. So, and pain sensitivity for the most part. And then the CB2 receptors are on our immune cells. Think about all of our macrophages and B cells and immune cells. Those are all tagged with CB2 receptors, and they're everywhere as well. And they work to keep us more well and healthy. And so the endocannabinoid system is the enzymes that synthesize and create these endocannabinoids and then break them down in microseconds. And then the receptor targets, the CB1, CB2, and then the endocannabinoids. And that all works together like a glove. And this image, and I think the next slide, go to the, yeah, this is a little bit of an image of the retrograde signaling, because most transmission in our body is from presynaptic to postsynaptic, right? So, and energy flows one way. The endocannabinoids are listening, and they are manufactured, synthesized on demand. They float backwards, plug into that nerve receptor and say, hey, adjust the flow. Generally, something is too hot. It's coming in too heavy. Turn it down a little bit. Okay, now we're at balanced. Everything's good. Boom. That's how it works. Like, and it goes through the entire system: your brain, your nervous system, your immune system, cardiovascular, muscular, etc. So
the endocannabinoid system is regulating all 11 organ systems, our immune system, and all the messenger signaling systems. That's pretty amazing.
Powerful.
It's pretty powerful.
And it's the most important system in the body.
It is. And so it makes sense that we take care of that system. Again, this is another depiction of retrograde signaling, how the endocannabinoid system, but conditions associated with endocannabinoid deficiency. So what happens if we're not making enough of our own internal endogenous cannabinoids, if we're not making enough anandamide or 2-AG? What happens if we don't have enough receptors or too many receptors?
Or the receptors are shut down. They recede into the cell membranes and they're not evident because we're not making the endocannabinoids, and we're not making the endocannabinoids because our diets suck.
Well, yeah, we'll get into that in a minute. But anyways, these are conditions that are associated with an endocannabinoid deficiency. You can see Alzheimer's, dementia, autoimmune disorders, neurodegenerative disorders, anxiety, depression, insomnia, PTSD, autism, epilepsy, seizure disorders, chronic pain, fibromyalgia, migraines, irritable bowel, Crohn's disease, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, obesity, diabetes, Huntington's, Tourette's, ADHD, cachexia, anorexia, cancer, and tumors, and more. So an endocannabinoid deficiency, there is an imbalance among the endocannabinoids we make, the enzymes, the receptors, and things are not functioning optimally. So what happens if the endocannabinoid system isn't functioning optimally? Messages don't go down. There's no downstream to communicate to correct cell signaling.
And then what happens? The body tries to compensate, but it doesn't. What's on the next slide? Yeah, and so we were talking about, all of these causes, aging, as when we're about 25, they say, when the brain's about fully developed, that's when our endocannabinoid system is toned the most. And then it starts to dissipate, just like everything else as we age. But a poor diet, fast, fried, and fake foods, lack of exercise, you're not moving. Everybody needs a 20-minute daily walk. If you're not getting that, how do we use cannabinoids to help you? Making sure your weight is normal, making sure you're not stressed. not using alcohol, cigarettes, polypharmacy, and having social interactions. Connection is critical, and we don't realize how important that is. A lack of touch and laughter, really focusing on that spiritual, social nature that we decline to pay attention to. And then you support it with food, being medicine, whole foods, movement, exercise, adaptogens, meditation, mind body, massage, acupuncture, essential oils, energy work, limiting alcohol, quitting smoking, having good sleep, prioritizing sleep, having those social connections, laughter and play, and finally cannabis. And oftentimes when we bring cannabis and CBD into the physiology of many of our patients, they start to improve and say these other things start to work because we've put the key into the lock. We are now turning those cells back on, and all of a sudden those downstream errors can start to be repaired and people just work better.
So plant phytocannabinoids interact with the endocannabinoid receptor. So we have CBD, THC, THCV, CBG, CBN, CBC, CBDA, THCA. There is so many.
An alphabet of
right?
cannabinoids.
And so all of these different cannabinoids, there's over 140 cannabinoids in the plant. Well, actually, Lumir Hannah said there was a lot more.
Well, 1325, but it's tagged around 500 now.
Yeah, 500. So anyway, so bottom line is these cannabinoids here, these can actually be found in products that you can buy in all 50 states, right?
In Bloom Hemp, one of our sponsors.
One of our sponsors.
So yeah, even THC in a 0.3% or less. So just enough presence to accomplish that strategic targeted effects that we need THC for, and then it boosts the efficacy of the CBD, CBG, CBN combinations or THCV, etc.
Yeah.
So
plant phytocannabinoids interact with the endocannabinoid receptor, so supporting patients with CBD. So again, what is CBD? CBD is a cannabinoid, and CBD is a cannabinoid that can be found in the cannabis plant or the hemp plant. The difference between the cannabis plant and the hemp plant is the lab result.
How much THC is in
How
that?
much THC
What are they breeding it for?
Yeah, what are they breeding it for? And there's 3 different types of CBD on the market. There's many different product types, but we generally see CBD isolate, which is the single isolated molecule. We'll see broad spectrum CBD products, which is whole plant, all the minor cannabinoids and terpenes, but 0 THC. And then we see full spectrum, which is whole plant, all the cannabinoids, terpenes, essential fatty acids, bioflavonoids, and cannaflavins, and the trace amount of THC. What's important about this slide is that the government had a patent on it, 6630507. 20 years ago, cannabinoids as antioxidants and neuroprotectants, and they have found to protect cells from damage, decay following ischemic insults, such as stroke and trauma. Cannabinoids may treat neurodegenerative diseases such as Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and dementia. Really important. This is history, folks.
20 years ago.
20 years ago. And here we are.
Still sitting here trying to make it work.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's not all about CBD, although for most people it is for quite a while. But folding in THC is something that a lot of patients need, especially those with chronic pain, arthritis, Crohn's disease, cancer, etc. We do want, in even dementia, we need some presence of THC. And again, I talked about it earlier, but anti-nausea, analgesia, reducing pain, promoting sleep, boosting the immune response, correcting cancer signaling, and then promoting the relaxation response. And then CBD, targeting about 70 different targets in the body, nudging opiate receptors, serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, our HPAX, our hormones, our neurological signaling, GABA, glutamate, balancing out neurochemistry in the brain. You name it, CBD is involved in just about everything. So we use them together. We maximize the benefits and we minimize the harms and any side effects having to do with THC by using CBD together with it. So don't be afraid of THC. Use it in very small doses, 1 to 2 milligrams with CBD.
Yep. And CBD is cumulative. So a lot of patients that we work with in particular were like, oh, I tried CBD once and it didn't work. Well, it's cumulative. You need to be using it over time, right? It has the cumulative effect. And mixing and matching, right? There's a lot of different products on the market. And so for the older folks, topicals is a great introduction to cannabis for all. You know, it's a local application to affected areas. There's no systemic effect. It doesn't get into the bloodstream and it acts as a topical anesthetic. Tinctures are great. So CBD dominant for day, 1-to-1 or THC dominant for nighttime, other minor cannabinoids in various formulations and ratios. I think we have a slide on that coming up.
Yep.
Transdermal patches have longer duration of basal dosing. So they put a patch on and it slowly seeps into the capillaries and gets into the systemic circulation for more continuous acting type of dosing. Sublingual strips under the tongue, very similar to tincture dosing under the tongue. Edibles, microdosing 2 to 5 milligrams using baked goods, capsules, gummies, candies, infused drinks, and even protein drinks, as a matter of fact. Suppositories, rectal or vaginal as needed. And then inhalation using vaporizing cannabis flowers or oil, CBD dominant 1-to-1 blends indica for bedtime. So generally when we're working with older folks, we're mostly working with topicals, tinctures, capsules, and gummies for the most part.
And you can just see what's coming to me, how many lectures I've started with cannabis is not one thing. Everybody thinks you need to smoke a joint, and look at what we have. The joint's not even on this page.
I know. Yeah, so there's a lot of different ways to use it. And so we can talk about targeting formulas.
Yeah, so targeted formulas really means about CBD, CBG, and CBN plus, right? Like, what are these minor cannabinoids? How do they play together to create the entourage effect without THC in exceeding the 0.3% designation that THC is allowed to be in these formulas to be sold nationwide. But what you're able to do with these formulas, and there's terpenes and there's botanicals involved as well. But if you go to bloomhemp.com, you can see some of the different formulas, like in recovery, CBD, CBG, and ginger, turmeric, and bioperine and pepper. So a nice anti-inflammatory. Calming can be CBD, CBN, lemon balm, hops, and other things that are going to help you relax and sleep. Lavender, yep. Digestion, CBD, CBG, both activating CB2, and then fennel, coriander, and ginger. The focus is CBD, CBG, and THCV. So this is going to be paired with lion's mane, reishi, and yerba mate to give you improved focus, energy, concentration, stamina, and a reduction in appetite, which is important for a lot of people to stop some of that mindless eating. And then Trilogy, which is the blockbuster 3,000 milligrams, 1,000 of CBD, 1,000 of CBG, and 1,000 of CBN in equal proportion, together with astragalus, oregano oil, cinnamon, and beta-caryophyllene in a big portion at 500 milligrams there. So this is a powerhouse. And then we've got full spectrum natural and citrus, along with broad spectrum, just regular THC free, the Fundamentals brand that is, so as you can see here, CBD, CBG, CBN plus shows up in this kind of a lineup to give you symptom-targeted resolutions.
And all of these formulas here have the trace amount of THC that is necessary to activate the CB1 and CB2 receptors.
Yeah. So and what they do then is create the entourage effect. And I don't think I've said that directly, but the entourage effect is where the whole of the plant is better than the sum of the individual parts. So in other words, we can have each one of these cannabinoids in isolation, or we can put them together and listen to the symphony, play all together, the harmony of synergistic effects. Now we can really get from A to Z much quicker.
Yep. And then topicals, great starting point for people. There are so many different type of topicals on there. The CBD and Muscle Freeze is good for sports, and it's very mentholy.
Yep.
Right. The Active Care Cream is probably one of
your all around.
Soothing Balm Stick is really great for neuropathy. The Muscle and Joint Therapy Cream I love. It's probably my favorite because I use it every day.
Well, and it's got MSM in there, so you want that stimulation of the joint and the chondroitin to heal. I use it on the same part every day, and that's why it's working with continuous relief. And
then the essential roll-ons are really, really good because they have aromatherapy. You can hit some specific acupuncture points on your body. You can roll it on your face, on your different acupuncture points on your feet,
to either invigorate you or to calm you.
Exactly. And then potential side effects. We talk about, cannabinoids, as very biphasic in nature. Low doses do one thing, high doses do something else. And that can be with each individual cannabinoid. So particularly with this, we've taken our information from Cannabis and we looked at a lot of the research, and basically pharmaceutical interactions should be monitored with CBD dosing of over 100 milligrams a day or THC dosing over 20 milligrams a day. They have not seen any interactions with those doses. It's when you get into the higher dosing range of cannabinoids, which you start to see side effects. But within the CBD realm, they did see somnolence and sedation observed in limited childhood epilepsy studies. However, this didn't stop the parents from giving it to them. The other thing too, same thing with the diarrhea. So excluding trials focusing on childhood epilepsy, the only adverse effect was diarrhea, and that was at very, very high doses. Again, the parents didn't see the diarrhea wasn't significant enough for them to stop the CBD.
And was it really the CBD? Because a lot of times the diarrhea can be caused by the carrier oil.
That's true. Yeah. So clinical evidence suggests CBD is well tolerated and presents a very good safety profile. Some experience dry mouth and fatigue, but generally for the most part, we've had really good outcomes. THC in particular could be a little bit different. We never want to start people off with high THC. Drowsiness, dizziness, vertigo, ataxia, tachycardia, risk for falls on the older folks, changes in cognition, memory, attention, and concentration. This is with higher doses. So what we do at dry mouth, dysphoria, anxiety, panic, and nausea, these are with high doses. So keeping microdosing mimics the endocannabinoid system. So taking smaller, frequent doses throughout the day to mimic what the endocannabinoid system is doing. The other thing about side effects versus effect is I always like people to remember that the side effect may be the effect that a patient is looking for. So for example, if a patient with ALS welcomes dry mouth because they're drooling, the patient with glaucoma welcomes the red eyes because it shows that the eye pressure is lowering. It's the vasodilatory effect of the cannabinoids. The munchies and the increased appetite, those that have nausea or cachexia or muscle wasting welcome the appetite increase. And those that become drowsy or sleepy, they welcome that if they're hypervigilant, they have insomnia or forgetful because they have PTSD. And then euphoria. The side effect of cannabis is feeling good. The side effect of pharmaceuticals is dysphoria, right? So euphoria is feeling good, where a lot of pharmaceuticals, we're seeing patients feel dysphoric, and dysphoric is dysfunction, right? All right. Whole plant formulations, microdosing, and working with cannabis clinicians such as Elizabeth and I decreases potential for side effects, for sure.
Okay, so safety and dosing, we've only got a few minutes left here, so we're going to go fast. But, what we want to do is find that Goldilocks version, that sweet spot of dosing where we've got enough to trigger therapeutic response, but not too much to create impairment. Start low, go slow, phase this in. We're talking about endocannabinoid signaling all the time. So we want to have a dose of CBD, breakfast, lunch, dinner, bedtime, to mimic that signaling, have always something in the body to work with. CBD for day, you can fold in THC at night, one-on-one, one-to-one ratios as needed. And then stacking so that we're not over-relying on any one product. Have a little tinker, a little topical capsule for long-acting, and a gummy as needed. And then spacing from the other drugs, having about a 1 hour window, take the drugs first, have some water and food, then take the cannabinoids after that. They seem to be safer that way. Some drugs you're going to want to talk to us and space a lot further, but journal and track your results and talk to your provider, be open with them.
Great. And shopping for safe CBD, Green Nurse approved. We look at flower, CBD from cannabis or flowering strains of hemp. They isolate, broad spectrum, full spectrum. We want to choose USDA organic with good manufacturing practices, that it's lab tested for purity, potency, contaminant, solvents. The labels need to be accurate with the potency and serving size, because potency ranges can be between 300 milligrams in a bottle and 3,000 milligrams in 1 ounce. And that's a difference between a 10 milligram serving and a 100 milligram serving, which is very, very different. So we need to know the potency and serving size for safe dosing. Transparency, website, address, email, customer service. And is there a nurse line? Do they have nurses? Right. Do they have clinicians that are helping to answer questions? So shopping for safe CBD. And then supporting the patient journey, right? Biopsychosocial, spiritual support. The essence of nursing is human caring for the entire human experience. And cannabinoids allow us the opportunity to do that with patients, and really allows us to teach patients about their smart body. Oftentimes they've been ignoring their mind, body, and spirit because they're just in auto mode. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything to add to this one?
No, but this is what we help people work on, because
Yeah.
they're really just here, right? Most people are just focused on their body.
There
They
is.
think that they are their body. They don't realize that they have a whole field of energy that is way
Multidimensional
more.
beings, and that's what we
Mhm.
do. We help to foster that. And again, this is just a reminder of the importance of caring for the endocannabinoid system and the endocannabinoid dome, and that you can modulate the endocannabinoid system and the endocannabinoid dome with or without cannabis. And so you can see we put cannabis and hemp at the bottom, but oftentimes it's the cannabis and hemp products that patients start to take that allow these other modalities to start really working better.
Getting from the crisis to the thrive zone.
That's it. Yeah. And caring for the caregivers, we're here for you, and the caregivers are, just the senior care managers are the caregivers. They're caring for the families, the family members that are caring for the seniors. And so we do family care plans, right? And teach you how to cope with frustration, how to maintain patience, have empathy, how to work through grief and loss, build resiliency, de-escalate situations, how to create a reliable support system, how to shift, pivot, and adapt with ease, and how to use cannabis products to care for you, the caregiver. So if you're caring for a loved one, I guarantee you're under stress and you deserve to feel good too. And we can help you. Case study.
Okay, so Sandy was a patient that came to me a few months ago with fibromyalgia and insomnia. Most 70-plus-year-old women have some degree of this, unable to get good quality sleep, struggling with her mornings. She was working part-time at the zoo and having the morning walks and wanted to be able to do that with vigor still, right? But she was pain and stiff all the time, and she wasn't sleeping. So we used CBD, CBN, CBG, so some of the Bloom products, recovery and calming, and then a CBD capsule every day, which I think is critical to her. And then going to the dispensary and she had some gummies that we tried for a while, hit and miss, and then found a THC tincture that we paired together with the calming tincture. So CBD, CBN, and then a few drops of THC, which we can go up and down with depending on what she needs. But it ended up having a wonderful experience. She's sleeping better. She's more energized and feels like she has a restored life. Also had her thyroid checked along the way. And the doctor wanted to give her more sedatives for sleep. She didn't take any of those, but he was changing all these variables at the same time. I'm like, sit with the new thyroid, just taking Synthroid again and getting her thyroid back into balance and allowing the CBD to nuance that rather than going to more pills for other things that she didn't need. We were able to just completely avoid those. And so she's very surprised at this restored life.
Good one.
Yeah.
And then these are 3 other case studies. We don't have very much time, but we've coached thousands of people to success. And these are some of my 3 favorite stories. The first one is Marta. She's over on the left. She was a hospice patient with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, only weeks to live. After 5 months of taking low-dose cannabis for end-of-life care, the cancer was gone. Cannabis saved her life and changed her journey from death and dying to alive and thriving. And she actually, which was interesting, her story is really interesting, is all of a sudden she was calling me up saying, I need to get some extra, I need to get some more. And so she was ordering extra products. And as it turned out, she put her husband ended up getting cancer. And she ended up treating his cancer with what she was on. And he too is in remission as well. And then we have Sister Suzanne, who is in the middle. She's a chronic intractable pain patient. She was on multiple pharmaceuticals, including high-dose fentanyl, with poor quality of life. She was only out of bed 4 hours a day. Cannabis bridged the gap. She is now opiate-free, back to life in the church. And the healing journey with Sister Suzanne was a series of beautiful interactions, sorting out cannabis, religion, spirituality, suffering, and healing. And she is quoted as saying, Jesus would say, what the frig did it take you so long to use this God-given plant that I created for you? It would be a sin not to use it. And then the last patient is one of my favorite patients, is my mom. So my mom just turned 80. And this really was a journey, a true journey of miracles, because my mom at the time was not in favor of cannabis. She was very Catholic, very Irish, very judgmental. I love you, Mom. But she literally blocked me on Facebook and wrote me out of her will when I started using cannabis as medicine. It was Sister Suzanne's story on our podcast that she heard. She heard Sister Suzanne say, that it would be a sin not to use it. And that was enough for my mother to call me up and say, I'm ready to use cannabis as medicine. So we started her on topicals. We started her for a month, just 2 ingredients, CBD and MCT oil, mixing them together, added in broad spectrum, added in a little THC. And finally, she's on a full plant medicine journey. And what I really love is that, at the end, she says, I feel good and I'm not high. My pain has become background noise. I'm sleeping better. I'm not so grumpy. I'm not so mean. I laugh a lot more and I'm not so depressed. And so these are 3 older folks that we've helped to live their best lives at the end of life. And they're still alive and thriving.
Yep.
Okay. Our ecosystem, this is an invitation for you. Holistic Caring and the Green Nurse provides the structure and framework to hold products and services that patients need to be successful with cannabis therapeutics. We have a free network we would like to invite you to for ongoing connection for patients and providers, run by nurses and our pharmacists, for CBD education and lifestyle support. So network.holisticcaring.com. If you go to the website, go join the network, free introduction to cannabis, free patient portal, 7-page medical cannabis guide. We do these free monthly clinical conversations, and they're all housed in the network. Email care plans for Bloom Hemp patients, free nurse line, holistic caring patient programs, targeted learning for conditions, and provider training.
Yep. And we have a sale right now. So Nurse 25, if you go to holisticcaring.com and you can check out any of the programs right now. We've got 5 professional programs and I believe 8 patient programs. So all of them are 25% off. Just put in Nurse 25 when you check out. Oh, and then there's CEUs for nurses too. I forgot to mention
30.
So the Cannabis Nurse Health Coach program is now tagged with 30 continuing education units. And then the targeted learning programs are 2 units. And then there's a couple of 8-unit programs in there as well.
Yep. And then finally, Bloom Hemp, our sponsors. What makes Bloom Hemp different? USDA organic, symptom targeted formulas, free nurse line, free care plan, free network, affiliate opportunities, wholesale and retail. Yep. So we are here for you all.
Do well by doing good.
Do well by doing good, and subscribe to our award-winning podcast. Yeah, so this has been a very powerful clinical conversation.
Yeah, there we are.
And there we are.
Yeah, and so you're going to close us out with the last video?
I'm going to close us out with the last video, and it's Thanksgiving time almost, everyone.
It's Thanksgiving, so please give some gratitude to yourself first for being here. Thank you. We are grateful for you, and then go make a difference in somebody else's life and share this good news.
Share this good news. Remember, it's all about living your best life and helping others do the same. Thank you for joining us.
God bless.
We're here to educate and empower patients to make choices that are best for them. We're also here to decrease stigma around what it means to feel good and be high. Hence the H for hope, I for inspiration, G for growth, and H for healing. The Green Nurse is a holistic cannabis nurse that teaches on the endocannabinoid system and the safe utilization of cannabis and other progressive tools to help people reach a better quality of life.
I was cannabis agnostic for many, many years. And the more research I did, the more I discovered that cannabis is this amazing medicine.
I was told that I had a 4-stage pancreatic cancer. The doctor really told me he couldn't do anything else. He gave me her name and she called me and she came to my house. She started to give me cannabis. My oncologist was puzzled because he couldn't find the cancer anymore.
All of the learning that we get comes from the Green Nurses Group, comes from their support, comes from their guidance. I trust everything that she says.
Simply meet people where they're at. The plant doesn't, stress to grow, so we don't stress to share it. We're healing people.
Cannabis has been used as a medicine for tens upon thousands of years. Here's the big message. Cannabis needs to be federally legal. We need to have laws that are the same across all 50 states that allow access to anyone and everyone who wants to utilize this powerful medicine.